The corner, the corner, the corner. Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you'll find real, authentic conversation, organic conversation, unscripted, unfiltered conversation, like you're home with your cousin. It's all about life. It's about finance. It's about spirituality. It's about love and everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey. So sit back and listen in as we dive into a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on with an array of thoughts and opinions. My goal is to create a space all for us to connect and communicate. It's not really about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy it. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about the corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. What's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? It's your boy, Cousin Ed. And we are back again. I am sitting here smiling from ear to ear. We have a chance to have another When My Sister Wins, We All Win. And we have a beautiful sister on today that's going to bless us. Y'all know my story. It's a gift and a curse, this social media. And I was able to come across this young lady's page. And she has some great topics. I was like, you know what? Let me just reach out to see if she will come on and grace Cousin Ed's Corner and be with us today. So, Dr. Gray, thank you for coming to Cousin Ed's Corner.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And as I said, everything happens for a reason. So I think it was intentional that we cross paths on social media.
I listen, I don't bring everybody on, but when I saw some of the topics you have, I said I got to have you on to talk about some of these things. So first of all, I like to always introduce the person to the audience and let the audience find out more about the person. So if you don't mind telling us, how did you get to this point? I know you're a doctor here in Atlanta, but how did you get to this point? So I don't like the pamper story, but bring us forward from your early starts.
Yeah, I mean, long journey. I was telling you earlier before we joined that I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa. So it really kind of started then, humble beginnings. And then we had a really brutal civil war. And I went as a refugee, if you will, to England, where I was lucky enough to have my aunt there. I went to middle school and high school there, and then got a scholarship to come to the U.S. I got a scholarship actually to go to FAMU. So I went to FAMU, got my undergrad actually from UGA. I transferred after 2 years and got my undergrad there. And I've always wanted to be a doctor, and again, humble beginnings. So had to have a career first in public health to save enough money to kind of make it into medical school. And did my medical school training, residency at University of Florida. And then I've been practicing internal medicine for the past 10 plus years. And, in the hospital, we get to be heroes. We are saving lives. People come in really sick. They get to leave the hospital. But I got to realize after doing it for 10 years that oftentimes it's a little too late because people are already that sick. They keep, you save them. Yes, they go home, but then they keep coming back to the hospital. The problem, that roller coaster has already started. So I wondered, what if we can intervene, 10, 20 years before disease happens? Well, if we can identify the signs and symptoms before that happens. And that's how I got into functional and integrative medicine, which is a somewhat newer practice of medicine where we focus on prevention, supplements, getting you off medication, focusing on lifestyle, all the things that you need to do so you don't end up seeing me in the hospital. And so that's how I ended up, here in Atlanta and, practicing this type of medicine.
Well, I definitely commend you for it. I know many of us in our community go to the doctor when it's too late, and
Exactly.
to hear about holistic, one, and alternative, two, that's sometimes frowned upon, especially from doctors. But to hear a doctor themselves saying that's what their practice is, and trying to do prevention and not trying to do maintenance is stellar. So thank you very much for being of the few, but helping us in totally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really strange because I was practicing a type of medicine that I did not necessarily do for myself. If someone prescribed me medication or I'm sick with a cold, I try to figure out what kind of roots, my grandma would boil up, or what kind of vitamins and supplements, how I can improve my immune system to fight it myself. But that's not what I was preaching in the hospital. We're quick to prescribe medications because that's what's expected. That's how I was trained. So when I stumbled upon this type of medicine, not just, someone just saying, take this supplement, but you can actually base it on science and on research and what actually works, I was just sold, because that's what I did for myself. That's what I do for my family. And to expand that to my patients was really a blessing to do. So, and that's how I started with the social media, just educating everything I learned in my fellowship, because I had to, get postgraduate training in this. It's not just something I just kind of come up with and say, but everything I learn, I'll turn it into a educational tool for my patients and for my audience. So I really bring, science and research to people that they can do themselves now. And most of it is food, exercise, and just, lifestyle type of medicine.
Well, I guess my first question is, why is this not practiced more? I think I know the answer, but why is this not practiced more? And why is this not the most popular thing that we can heal ourselves or have alternative ways outside of the medication?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it boils down to how insurance reimbursement works. The American health system pay doctors, they pay hospitals for treating disease, for diagnosis and treatment, not for prevention. So your doctor does not get paid for spending an hour with you talking about supplements. They don't get paid to do that. They won't get reimbursed for doing that. They get paid by the complexity of your medical condition, whether you have hypertension, diabetes, how bad the diabetes is, to justify how much time I spend with you trying to write more medications or managing the side effects of the previous medications that I've done. That's just how you get reimbursed. So your primary care doctor is going to come in, see you for 10 minutes. You give them the symptoms. They are trained to come up with a diagnosis and a prescription for that the insurance will pay for. Insurance does not pay for science-backed supplements. They do not pay for your doctor telling you to cut off sugar and how to do that. They do not get paid for that. So they'll be doing charity, just sitting all day, seeing maybe in an 8-hour period, seeing 8 patients, to get paid for 10 minutes of that, because it's just not complex enough. They get paid just like your, car insurance. You get to use it when there's an accident. They don't pay for you to keep your car running well, for your safe driving. They don't pay for your oil changes. They don't pay for all these things that you do to keep your car running well, so that it doesn't stop on you on the highway and you get, hit by a bunch of cars. That's just how car insurance, that's how medical insurance works too. It's so true. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So this type of medicine has actually been accessible to executives and, wealthier people for a long time. they have, because companies know that this type of medicine works. It's cheaper for them, and they want their executives to stay, healthy, and they assign certain amount of dollars for them to seek this kind of care. A lot of people have access to this sometimes with their jobs, but they don't know about it, and so they don't seek this type of care. But
Hold on. Please,
mhm.
let us know, how can we change our health plans or health, situation, that we
Yeah.
can have this type of care.
Yeah. So it's not a matter of your health insurance doesn't cover it. That's just
Okay.
it doesn't. But you can find out from your benefits department in your, at your job, what type of things you have access to. For example, I have a friend who works for IBM, and they offer them for weight loss programs. They offer them $3,000 a year that they can use for certain types of practices, for nutritional plans, fitness, psychological support that comes with, eating disorders and trying to get the mental capacity or psychological capacity to eat right. And they give them that, and she found out about it, and she can do it that way, for example. So that's
Excellent.
3,000 free money. Okay.
Hmm.
Of course, you have HSA that you put pre-tax dollars into that you can use to go to your chiropractor or your functional medicine, all these alternative type of medicines that your health insurance don't cover. So between your HRA, for example, and your HSA, you can cover, not just this. Sometimes it covers certain types of massages, all these different things that you can do for your health to keep you healthy, keep your stress level down, keep your cortisol level down, keep you from being sick. So that's what I mean by, so it's not a health insurance plan, but certain jobs, you may have that benefit available to you, but you need to talk to your benefits department for that.
Okay.
But think of HRA, HSA, those are two. HRA is free money from your company that you can ask your benefits department if you have such dollars that usually go untouched because employees don't know about it. And HSA, everyone knows that that's money you put aside to cover those type of alternative treatments that your health insurance does not.
So would you consider this additive to your regular insurance?
Yes, I would consider it an additive to your regular insurance. I would consider it an additive even to your, it's kind of a specialty care, just like you
Specialty care.
may have an endocrinologist or, a cardiologist. You can have a functional medicine physician to focus on, keeping you healthy. I mean, a lot of it kind of overlap with your primary care physician. For example, I would not neglect to tell my patient to go get their mammogram, get their colonoscopy at 40, 45, depending on your risk. But at the same time, that's not my bread and butter. It's weight management, hormone balancing, which all play into general health, but you need your primary care doctor for your colds and your flus and, whatever else. Yeah. So it's additive.
And, well, I think more of us need to know about it. And so if I have health insurance and I want to set up a time to come see you, this is something that I would set up myself through your site and come in, you do my blood, and you tell me the steps, please.
Yes. So my practice is a subscription-based practice. So
Okay.
it's out of health insurance. But certain things are covered by health insurance. For example, your labs or, whatever else I may prescribe that's medication that's covered through your insurance. So my practice is a subscription-based practice. Yes, you go on the website, if you choose to become a member, you become a member. And usually the first appointment is, just getting to know each other. After we do that, I order labs, of course, do a physical exam, and my labs are extensive. Okay. It's looking at cortisol level. It looks at saliva. You do a mouth swab, you do urine, you do blood. It's a lot. Sometimes we even do stool to understand your gut health.
Hmm.
So we look at everything to understand where you are. We look at your estrogen, your metabolic pathways, your detoxification pathways, make sure things are going in the right direction, because oftentimes they can be rerouted, even with, just supplements, lifestyle changes, diet, etc. So we do an extensive set of labs to see where you are. We have another meeting to talk about those labs, come up with a health plan to get you where you need to go. And we use objective ways to measure your progress, not just, oh, you know what, I actually do feel good. That's good, but we use labs to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. So it's science-based, and we do body scans. So for example, for weight, we don't so much focus on what's on the scale. That varies all the time. We focus on waist circumference, which is the measurement around your waist that needs to be a certain healthy range, because it corresponds not just to what's trending or how you look in a dress. That's not what we really care about. But instead your risk factors for diseases down the line, and it's called visceral fat. So that fat around your waist, around your belly button area, the abdominal fat, is the risky fat. But for me to understand that, more than just the measurement around, we do a DEXA scan, a certain type of scan that looks at your body fat indexes. Where are you? Do you have subcutaneous fat, which is the healthier fat that doesn't have anything to do with your risk factors for disease? So there's subcutaneous fat, and then there's visceral fat. That's the fat that encases or surrounds your organs, surrounds your heart, surrounds your liver, surrounds, you've heard of fatty liver disease, etc. So this fat is dangerous fat. This is the fat that leads to cancer, that leads to diabetes, that leads to heart attacks and strokes, etc. We look at your muscle mass. Muscle is very important for glucose metabolism, especially as you age. It's so important. So as you lose weight, you need to make sure you're maintaining muscle mass, and we don't just base it on how you look. We base it objectively based on the body scan, and that's something that we repeat in 6 months or a year to see where you are. If you had a certain amount of visceral fat that we don't want, we do lifestyle interventions, supplements, etc., sometimes medications, and we measure where you are later down the line. So
Well,
to answer your question, the first visit
no,
is
no,
just
no. You just went more than most people get through their lifetime of doctors.
exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And each time with my patients, we spend the average time an hour and a half, and we talk. We talk about everything from, your sex life. How often does your primary care doctor talk to you about that? We talk about that. We talk about different interventions to help with that. I deal with a lot of women in perimenopause, menopause, men in andropause, which is the male version of menopause. Yes, men go through hormonal changes as they age too. And we go through all of that because all of that is important in keeping you healthy. Not just hormones, not just weight. All of it goes together in keeping you away from the hospital. That's my goal.
That sounds excellent. Everybody out there, definitely reach out. But before I even go that far, the video that I saw was talking about sugars, right? I have two kids that play sports. And I think the video you showed was about Gatorade. And I know there's some things that are bad for us and worse for us. And Gatorade is one of them. So I want to talk about some of the sugars and some of the red dyes and all the colors and things like that we can avoid that may help us early on.
Yeah. So, I've had the opportunity to live in many places, and the American diet is terrible. The American food industry is very commercialized, and their goal is money and profit. So a lot of foods, there's not as much regulations on food as there are in other places, like in Europe. Our meats are banned in Europe. You cannot have American meat in England or in different parts of Europe because the hormones and antibiotics and all those things that we use on our meat is just not fit for human consumption. So they actually banned that. So I digress, but sugar. If there's one thing that you can do right now, I don't have a doctor, or I don't like them, or I'm whatever, I don't have access, or I don't have money for a functional medicine doctor, or whatever. What can I do? If there's one thing you can do is to cut out sugar. I have a video that I talked about sugar being the root of all evil, not money, because money doesn't kill you and sugar literally does. Dementia and Alzheimer's is known as type 3 diabetes. And what do we know about diabetes? We call it sugar or sugar diabetes. It's linked with sugar. And diabetes is the catalyst to everything bad. Heart attack, strokes, cancers, all of that. So there's type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and now dementia and Alzheimer's is known as type 3 diabetes, directly linked to insulin resistance, which is based on sugar. So, but everything in our diet, everything is laced with sugar. Why? Because it's biologically addictive. It is addictive. They have studies that you know that sugar is addictive. You want your dessert, you crave your chocolate, you crave sweet drinks. When you start drinking your Gatorade or whatever sugar-laden drink, you want more and more and more. And that sounds familiar. So there's a study that they did on rats where they put rats in cages. So they do a lot of research on rats. But they give the rats cocaine and they get them addicted to cocaine and they become addicted. And then they take the cocaine away and they give them sugar. And they get addicted to sugar and they going for the sugar all the time and they're addicted. Then they put both of them in front of the rats and they choose the sugar. So sugar is, literally more addictive than cocaine. We don't think about it that way, but it is. So I say all that to say the food industry, therefore, they care about the almighty dollar. They lace everything with sugar that you wouldn't even think of. Campbell's chicken noodle soup, sugar. Of course, all the condiments, sugar, bacon, sugar, all these processed meats that you have, sugar. Just do a quick test and go to the grocery store for bacon and look at the back and see how easy or hard, I know it's hard, but how easy or hard it is to find bacon that doesn't have sugar. All of it has sugar. There are some that don't have sugar, but you'll probably find one in some little section over there that don't have sugar. So everything has sugar that you don't even realize, and it's not sweet. So when I tell people cut off sugar, what do they say? I don't even have that much sugar. I may have one Coke. I've even cut Coke out. I don't put sugar. I put 1 teaspoon of sugar in my tea. But they don't realize that when they tally up how much sugar they have without adding sugar in your tea or coffee, without drinking soda or Gatorade or whatever, how much sugar they're having just on their seasonings, just on all these foods that they don't realize have sugar. And if you eat fast food, well, forget about it. Sugar, 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 bread, sugar, everything has sugar. And it's literally linked to every disease that you can think of, the chronic diseases that affect us all the time. So Gatorade, I mentioned, all these things are marketed as being healthy. Gatorade has electrolytes that help, if you sweat a lot from running a marathon and you losing a lot of glucose from that marathon and you need energy to finish the race, of course, yes, Gatorade, because you need that glucose and you need that electrolytes. Perfect. But you walking on the treadmill or going for a little walk or just outside doing regular exercise, you don't need Gatorade. Look how much sugar it has.
So I can't sit on the couch and have a Gatorade?
Well, you can, but just 10 years down, you'll be seeing me in the hospital.
Nah. But I'm more of a water and lemon, water and a little bit of, yeah. But I
Perfect.
understand it. As an athlete growing up, that's what they promoted, right? They show you on TV. That's what you should have. So
Exactly, exactly. And some people do need it, but really if you need electrolytes in a regular workout, you can find the sugar-free electrolytes that you can add to your water, and you get the electrolytes you need. But most people don't need that. I mean, unless you're like a really whatever athlete, you're getting, you put salt in your food, that's sodium, that's chloride, you have that. You should be taking magnesium supplements because it's like the best thing you could do in your life by supplementing magnesium. So most people don't need those extra electrolytes, but you can. If you feel like you do, you're having diarrhea, you're having vomiting, of course, you're losing water and electrolytes. So it's important for you to replace that. And they have healthier packets that just have the electrolytes that you can put in your drink. And don't get me started on artificial sweeteners. Those are terrible. Okay, so that's not sugar free. You should look at the back and see, well, what do they mean by sugar free? What else is in it? Why is it sweet?
why is it sweet, right?
Right, exactly.
If it's not maple or something that's natural, and even that you still got to watch. But anything that's refined, that's bleached, anything like that, you should not have it.
Exactly, exactly. And maple is a great alternative because it's not, I say it all the time. Of course, we all love sugar. You should have about no more than 6 teaspoons a day to help prevent all these bad stuff from happening. And if you're diabetic, you shouldn't. I mean, you really need to avoid it like the plague. And I have something that I give to my patients that has, because the New York Times had a list of 100 different ways that the food industry says sugar. Okay, they don't always, now they're smart. They know people want to be healthy, so they don't always say sugar. They have different names for sugar. So I condense it into 10 ways that you can identify, like things that end in OL, like mannitol or something like that. Those are the alcohol sugars. So I explained that. And anyway, I explained 10 different ways that you can identify sugars on labels. To just help you. But not malt, but maple syrup is a good alternative. If you need to sweeten something, that's a nice natural. Cane sugar is good. Agave, healthy, but it's not actually. Agave is pure fructose. Fructose is terrible. So fructose is what goes straight to the liver, and it causes fatty liver disease. So although agave sounds healthy, agave is 100% fructose. We know high fructose corn syrup, right? So we avoid that because that has a lot of press. But agave is a natural fructose that is terrible for you. So it's not healthy. What's healthier, if you need to sweeten, is cane sugar. So if you're making a little cocktail and you want to sweeten it occasionally, you can make simple syrup, which is 1 part cane sugar and 1 part water. And you just heat it up, keep mixing it, and it becomes a syrup. And you can use that to sweeten your drink instead of agave. So remember that.
I'm about to go throw away right now.
Right. It looks healthy. And I used to do that too before I learned what I learned, that I thought agave was healthy and I wouldn't do cane sugar and I'll do agave. Another thing to note is that I was going to say something about agave. So fructose. So fruits have fructose. But why can you have fruits which has fructose in it and not agave? Because of the fiber. So fiber is the antidote for sugar and all the bad things it does in your body. God is good now. God created things the way that they should be had. So God put the sweetness of fructose in fruit so you can get that sweetness that you want, but he added fiber to that. So fiber really literally helps when you take in that sugar. It makes your sugar not spike up, your blood sugar not just spike up, which is what leads to insulin resistance and diabetes and dementia, type 3 diabetes, you all know now. So if you can that's why fiber is so important. That's why gut health is so important. You want to always have your sugar with fiber. So whole fruit is good. Agave does not have the fiber in it. It's just pure fructose and it's terrible. So throw it away.
You just killed my whole cabinet.
Well, now you know. Listen, my
Oh,
friends talking to me, okay? They always text me if I show up at a dinner, they're like,
mm.
"Oh Lord,
I thought I was doing
oh,
something good with the agave, but no, I have maple as well, so I like
okay."
maple.
Now that's good. That's excellent.
All right, I want to keep you. It's so much I
Yeah.
got for you, but I hit one more thing. One more thing. You brought it up earlier, and we can come back to it another time. But I wanted to just tease it. Menopause
Yeah.
and ant
Andropause.
andropause.
And
So
yeah. Like
and
andropause. A-N-D. Yeah, and.
andropause. So
Hmm.
we always have heard about menopause, and she's going crazy, and she's hot, and she's this, and she's that. And andropause is something that, you broke down on one of your videos about he's lazy, he's always tired, he doesn't want this, he doesn't want that. So can
Exactly.
you give a high level of both and some things we can do that can possibly reverse or help with it?
Yeah. So menopause, andropause happens because estrogen in menopause just goes down after the reproductive age. It starts going slowly down. So women usually start hitting that perimenopause, which is the stage before menopause. So menopause is when you don't have a period for about a year, or you can do lab measurements to see. So perimenopause, you start having the decline in estrogen, and women have certain symptoms associated with that. For men, testosterone levels start going down until, it really hits around maybe late 40s, 50s, where it goes really, really low. And so that's how you define both stages, and there's symptoms that go with it. With women, the crazies, mood changes are really key. Anxiety. That was one thing that happened to me early, 40 plus. But in my late 30s to 40s, I started having anxiety, which was never me. I never understood people that had anxiety. It was just, so this was really strange for me. Of course, yes, I'm busy. Yes, I have kids and they run around, and I have a husband, and just keeping up with everything is a lot. So you start blaming it on those things. But it's real, and it's based on hormonal changes. And in terms of treating it, if it's due to hormone changes, you treat it with hormone replacement, whether it's estrogen, testosterone, DHEA. There's so many different hormone level, progesterone, and all of that. So you treat it with hormone replacement. But there's some people who don't want hormone replacement, or their levels are not at a stage where they necessarily qualify, because I replace it based on science. I'm a doctor. I'm not, I just don't give pellets just because you say you want it. So I base it on labs. Symptoms matter too, but you can, of course, replace the hormones. Lifestyle changes. If you cut sugar down,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to feel better. I have this program I do called the 10 plus 20 program, which is a 30-day program where I teach a lot about diet, a lot of the things that we talked about. And one of my good friends, well, I met her through the program. One of our closing meetings, she was like, Dr. Bilky is what she called me, because my first name is Bilky. Is this supposed to make you, feel horny? Because she said she's going around hugging poles, and she just is feeling things that she hasn't felt in a while. And yes, when you change your diet, you balance your hormones. It's all tied together. So one thing that you could do, if you don't want hormones for whatever reason, you're on the fence, you've heard crazy things, that's a whole other topic I can go into. But a lot of the scare about it is unfounded, and research has shown that, but we won't go into that because that's a long topic. But for some reason you don't want to do hormone, I meet my patients where they are. We do supplements. I teach you lifestyle changes. Like I mentioned before, exercise is huge. If you exercise, you are going to balance your hormones in a natural way. As I mentioned, the diet. But another thing that's very important is mindfulness. Okay. Slowing down, reducing that stress level. I do labs where I can objectively measure your stress levels, but we are running, especially as women, but men too, on E. We just all over the place, and we're highly stressed. And when you're stressed, you're not going to have libido. Your hormone levels all go down. It's a survival thing. If you're in the forest or whatever hunting and a bear is in front of you, your adrenaline is up, your cortisol level is up, you're trying to feed all those muscles and trying to fight that bear and survive to procreate and pass on your genes to the next, generation. You're not thinking at that time to have sex. You're gonna die if you're thinking about it. So same thing with high stress level. So the way that you manage that without medications is not necessarily Xanax and all these things, definitely not alcohol. It's, mindfulness, breath work, meditation, sitting quiet and having time to just relax. I teach people, you can do it in your car. My kids are always all over me. I feel like my home, I just can't think. So I do it in my car. When I get to work in the garage, I sit for 10 minutes. You can do that. And I just close my eyes and just try to get right. And when I get off work, I try to get myself right so I can be 100% at home and to myself. So those are things that you can do right now to help. Of course, you need to see your doctor. You need to have labs. You can have medications, supplements, science-backed supplements can do that. But before you do all that, you can manage your diet, cut off the sugar, eat right, and that requires education. But the one thing you can do right now is try to cut down the sugar, exercise, mindfulness. You can do those three things, tomorrow, with a good partnership, a good mentor. You can do that.
All right. Speaking of a partnership and mentor, do you have, let's go ahead and get your information. And okay. I want to know if you have any kind of, I don't know what is it called? Specials, not specials, but things where they can come in and see you. Can't think of the name.
Yeah, but coming to see me is completely free. I make a minute time to see anyone who calls me and just say, I just want to learn about your practice. I just want to see what it's like, or just tell me, what is this functional medicine? I'm interested. Spend 30 minutes risk-free. That you can make an appointment and talk with me. So that's free. I also have discounted programs. Look, if someone is really trying to get healthy and they just don't have the means with whatever, I try to meet people where they are. So I possibly could do that. But you can also
running workshops.
Yeah, you can follow me on social media. I give free information all the time on my social media. You can sign up for my blog. So if you go to my website, www.designed, DESIGNED, the number 4 wellness, WELLNESS. So www.designedforwellness.us. You can click on the blog section and you can just subscribe to my blog. And I'm a one-man show. I'm a small business, so I would not bombard you with a bunch of emails. I just don't even have the resource to do that. You just get notifications when I have a new blog out, or when I have freebies or PDFs to share with you on how you can be healthy. So that's a good way to just get information and get knowledge without, signing up for, a new medical provider. My 10+20 program, I can send you for your guests if you can let them know, or let me know what you tell them to when they email me or contact me, to know that they heard it from your podcast. I can send them my 10+20 program. So usually my 10+20 program is I walk people through this. We have weekly sessions through Zoom where I teach them about different food groups, what are healthy oils. A vegetable oil is not a healthy oil. It sounds good, but it's poison. I tell them about healthy fats. I tell them about, how to avoid sugars. I teach them about healthy meats and how to choose, pasture-raised meats. It's not always organic. Pasture-raised is better, etc. But for your guest, I can send the PDF that has all the information, just not with me in it, kind of walking you through it, but it has information on how you can do a 30-day cleanse, on your own. I can send your guest that. Usually it's part of what I give my subscribers, and I usually do it once a year for my subscribers. But yes, I will send that PDF to you that kind of highlights the different food groups, gives you a general idea of how you can get started today. So those are different things I could do for you guys.
That's enough right there by itself. So if they are not in the Atlanta area, definitely go online, check her out. If you are in the Atlanta area, please be sure to stop by and set up an appointment with her. You can find her on social media. Go ahead and give you a social media website.
So Instagram, I'm not a social media person, so I kind of stuck with Instagram. It's just, that's what I've mastered. So, I'm on Facebook too, but on Instagram, it's, designed dot, the number 4 dot wellness. So just a dot between them, between the designed, the 4 and the wellness. So designed dot 4 dot wellness. On Facebook, there's no dot in between. It's just designed for wellness. And so you can do that now, and you can go on the website, go on the blog, click subscribe, and you'll get information about the blogs that I do.
I'll have all of her information inside of the show notes as well. You can always reach out to me, Cousin Ed's Corner, 762-333-2032. That's 762-333-2032. Leave me a voicemail. I'll definitely play it for her or forward it to her. I'd love to have you back, Doc. You are now our resident doctor for the show. So
yeah,
I love to have you back. I normally offer, so you got to hear this, but I'm going to offer you some tea. I'm going to offer you some water. I normally offer the brown and the clear in a red cup. If you understand you in the fam, so you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm offering you some clear water.
Okay. I'll take it.
Teacup.
I'll take it.
I love this episode. Thank you for coming. Hey fam, be sure to reach out. Hopefully you learned a lot today. I know I did. I'm going upstairs and throw away this agave right now. So
throw it away.
We're out of here. Peace and love.
Hey y'all, this is Dr. Bilkisu Gaye. I'm a medical director and co-owner of Designed for Wellness. You can catch me at www.designed, DESIGNED, the number 4, wellness. When I'm not out providing personalized functional medicine to my patients, I'm listening to Cousin Ed's Corner.
Hey y'all, Aisha here, founder and CEO of the Sistahs in Business Expo, the country's only multi-city small business expo and community created to celebrate and educate entrepreneurial women of color. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. And remember, when my sister wins, we all win.
This episode of Cousin Ed's Corner was brought to you by the Sistah Shop. Please be sure to visit them at thesistahshop.com. That's thesistahshop.com. Thesistahshop.com. Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed's Corner.